Good, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a midday market update here on the Jay Stein and the Stock Market Entertainment Show. As far as the markets are concerned, guys, look, they're running pretty much flat. The Dow's down like 100 points, but the Fed hasn't talked yet. And again, I'm of the strong belief that it's going to remain flat because the Fed's going to continue saying that they're just going to continue asset purchasing. And and anybody that watched the video this morning knows what I'm talking about. But there wasn't a lot of people who watched it. If you did, I say thank you. Anyways, right now we have a stock CLOV, which is trending pretty big time right now. And I think it's up like 16 or 17%. But I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. So these guys, granted, they had some decent earnings, but they're under a class action investigation lawsuit. So basically, on behalf of the shareholders to determine whether certain officers and directors violated the SEC Act of 1934 and basically breached the fiduciary duties of the company. So essentially, these guys were pretty much doing some shady stuff in regards to the way that they were operating their company. I'm not particularly familiar with what they do. All I know is when I see class action lawsuit, I generally don't buy those types of stocks because there's obvious issues with them. So with that said, be careful if that's something that you're looking at investing. Let's talk a little Bitcoin real quick. It's not quite doing what I want it to. It didn't quite hold that 55,000 mark, which doesn't exactly make me thrilled, but at the same time, I'm not worried about it either. As far as all the other stocks that I talked about this morning, they're doing pretty good. Everything's holding its ground with the exception of AMD. Now, please fill me in. You know, they had blowout numbers, crazy volume and uptick in their share price. And then, I don't know, it went down and down and down. So I'm either attributing that to short covering or profit taking, or maybe someone's just driving down the price so that they can buy a lot more of it. If you are privy to other information or your opinion, please leave it in the comment. I'd be really interested to know, what anybody else's thoughts are on that. Nicola's making a nice little move. Nothing crazy, 1.5%, but I love Nicola. So I like to see that, and it's continuing in its upward trend. Frog it's holding its line. Like I said this morning, if it starts to drop off, it falls out of parameters. And really the only one that is looking like I don't really like it is GoCo. And that disappoints me because I really, really like the setup. I like their numbers. Their fundamentals are good. It's still within my risk parameters, though. However, it's testing that bottom end of my support levels. So I'm not entirely thrilled with the way that's performing. And the only other one that's really given me kind of a hard time is Merck, which I don't really care about. And here's why. It basically touched a resistance point, and then it rejected it. But that's not that big of a deal because my rule of three, if it hits a resistance point once and rejects it, but it doesn't tank afterward, let it come back up. And now it should test that resistance point and either go through it or reject it again. Now, so long as it doesn't drop below where it dipped that first time after that first failure of that resistance point, when it comes back up that third time, should break through. And if it doesn't, then it's no longer within my models. But most likely, with the way I pick my stocks and the way that my entries and exit points, that usually by the third time it will pop off. And otherwise, like I said, I dump it. Now, with everything else, like I always say, the stocks that I find, I don't necessarily expect them to run that very day. Sometimes they do, and that's awesome. But it might take a day or two for it to really pick up traction. But the beautiful thing is, my stocks that I pick are basically, I'm able to set really short stop limits. And if you follow my work and if you do diligence yourself and look at what I'm looking at, you can see what I'm seeing and determine where you can set that stop at. So that's my whole game plan is, if I'm going to lose money, minimalize it, and also, more importantly, make gains. So as far as everything else we talked about this morning, everything's holding its ground again, except for GoCo. But if it dips a little bit further, I'm going to have to call it a dead deal. But everything else, like I said, is holding pretty well. So with that said, guys, CLOV, CLOV, be very careful with that, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, like I said, lawsuits, good earnings, whatever, I don't care. Class action lawsuits, never a good thing. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching, as always. And yeah, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe. It always makes me feel better. Anyways, and yeah, remember to set your stops if you're in something. And otherwise, that's all I got. I'll check back in with you if anything else comes back up. And guys, I hope you're making money. Talk to you later.